We'll just kind of get right into it. I'd like to call the meeting to order, January 12th, 2021, which is hopefully better than 2020. And unfortunately, yeah, that's not going so well. But anyways,
It's not starting out that way.
no, it's not. Item number 2, we'll jump right into the agenda. I believe everybody got to see it. If we can get a motion to approve this evening's agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Karen and second by Tracy. All in favor? Motion approved. Number 3, declarations of interest. Do we have any? Nope. Item number 4, delegations, presentations. Anything? Nope. Number 5, the meetings, the minutes from previous meeting. Again, I believe all the minutes went out. We can get a motion to approve the previous minutes.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Pearl, second by Tracy. All in favor? Woo. Motion carried. Let's just jump right into the items for this evening. 6.1, elections for the executive positions. I believe everybody is aware now that every 2 years we are to switch our positions as per our bylaw. I know, Pearl, you made a suggestion at the previous meeting. If you remember what you said.
Yeah, I had asked if we would be able to make an exception for this coming year, to have you stay on as in the same role that you're in now, just because we didn't really have a full year last year, and it would be nice to kind of keep things status quo because we're not able to get together, in person, and so it might just be easier if we kept things just for another term, as it is.
So that suggests for all roles?
If everyone would agree to it, then yeah, I would think that would be great.
We're a little short on people, so.
Excuse me, I don't think we have a lot of choice, do we?
Yeah, there's no sense shuffling us around. We might as well keep doing what we're doing.
So may I make a recommendation that to just pass that as a motion, and then I can take that forward to council for contemplation.
You don't see any issue with that though, Matthew?
No, I think it's extenuating circumstances, and so if that's the will of the board, then certainly we can bring that forward.
All right. So, Pearl, do you want to make motion?
Sure, I can do that. I'll make a motion that we keep all board members in their current positions for 1 more year.
All righty. Anybody care to second
Current
that?
executive positions.
Yes. Okay. Pearl has made the motion. Anybody care to second that?
I'll second it.
Second by Karen. I guess all in favor? All right. Motion carried. 1 more year it is. That was easy. 6.2. A little planning for 2021. I know everyone has some suggestions, and it's been a rough year last year for doing anything, and so far this year is not looking so good to start out. But what would we like to accomplish this year? Everything we didn't last year.
Should we start with discussion around coordinator? Do we want to talk about that, or?
That's probably not the worst idea in the whole world. I think it's a priority, that's for sure. Anybody else? I see Pearl shaking her head. Yep. Okay. Question on that one. Actually, I don't know, maybe Dana or Matthew could answer, because I know last meeting you discussed, there was the discussions I know you guys have had about the future museum and somebody there. Has there been any more discussion on that topic with you guys in town?
Oh, I can certainly speak to that. We're certainly looking at all of our options when it comes to staffing the museum and being able to provide a downtown presence on a regular basis and have that venue open. So I think it would be great if we could understand, is there a wanting for a coordinator, and what are those things that you want them to do? And then from there, we can start to say, how does that become possible? And how do we frame it in a way that that is beneficial for both organizations? So I think really that's where, if we were to come out of this evening with an understanding of that, yes, a BIA coordinator is important, and that you want us to kind of incorporate that into how we develop our plans going forward, then certainly I think that would be a really big help. And then determining exactly the core duties, understanding that this year is going to be difficult again, in terms of in-person meetings, in terms of holding events, things like that. But what are those other things that you would like them to do? And then we can move forward from there.
Okay. What's everybody's thoughts on that one?
I guess, what would we typically have the coordinator do? They would organize events, I guess, communicate with the, with town and with our BIA members. If we're still going to be in a pandemic for the majority of the year, are we going to have enough work for a coordinator?
If I can just maybe pipe in with a couple other potential suggestions. We've talked about this a lot this year, and I know it's been extremely difficult, even from a town perspective, to organize a lot of those in-person events. But even though we can't necessarily organize in-person events, we've really shifted our focus to promotions that don't necessarily involve public gatherings, but would still support the business community. And I think there would be a definite role for a coordinator in taking on some of those activities, more of a promotional based, you could be having a rotating promotion every month. They could be coordinating, different advertising and marketing campaigns for the downtown as well on a seasonal basis, whether it be virtual online shopping and, pickups only. I think there's definitely still projects that they could work on aside from, your traditional downtown gatherings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good point.
Then at the same time, we could structure this in a way that you pay as you go type of thing. So instead of saying every single week you're going to pay for 10 hours or whatever it is, that you do it based on your needs. So you're going to have an upcoming meeting. Maybe you need a couple hours of support in terms of that, getting ready, getting everything done and finished, or you're going to run a certain promotion. You're going to, buy a few hours of that time. We could have that relationship as well. And so that way you're not on the hook for a certain dollar amount, but you could actually just say, I need that service this week, but I don't need it next week, but I'm going to need it heavy in 3 weeks from now because we're going to run an event or something like that. So it becomes more of a pay as you go. And that way you can kind of have that ebb and flow and be able to take advantage of them when you need them, as opposed to always having to worry about, well, is there enough work for them to do? Because that way we as the town can kind of fill out the rest of the time.
Kind of more of a project-based approach.
So we would still have to set aside a budget regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess like a cap.
We were also thinking, coming out of the digital Main Street, there seems to be, I think there would be a lot of support for programs such as webinars, developing more tools and resources for the businesses on an ongoing basis as well to really help support them and, finding new strategies for sales and marketing.
Yeah, I think that's probably not a bad suggestion. I think no matter how you look at it, we need somebody. So
Yeah. Yeah, we're all working full time. It's hard to keep on, do those extras as well.
yeah, and it's rough right now too, especially with all the businesses that aren't even running. Makes it difficult too. But I think as Matthew mentioned about responsibilities, I think if we take the possibly the previous either the job posting or job description and kind of tweak it a little bit. And because I think most of the responsibilities would probably be in that, would they not?
I would think so.
Just remove anything that says chamber. But yeah. So would this be, would we post the position like we did before?
We could do that, depending on what the town does with that position for, or how we decide to staff the museum. It might just be able to be a town employee that then you would be able to buy service from. So, those are kind of some of the things that we're exploring, and certainly happy to take any feedback as to the comfort level with that.
I personally would be quite comfortable with that. I think it would be really difficult to find a good match for us without offering some sort of guaranteed work, right? Just if we were putting an ad out there to get someone. So I think that if it's a town employee, that would be fantastic. I think that would really help us, and then we could help the town out as well. So I think that's a good idea.
I like that idea a lot. Yeah.
I think it's important to really start identifying, what those specific projects are. It just kind of reading between the lines and what Matthew's saying, I think it's going to be, very project based. You may not be able to depend on them for all your kind of general, administrative day-to-day functions, but they would be there to help you support some of these key activities that you really want to take on in 2021. And still there to help you administratively, as you need, like Matthew said, if you need them for a couple hours a week to assist with meetings and things of that nature. But I think it would be, a good stepping stone to maybe get you to that point where you are in a position to, maybe look at a partnership with the chamber again and get into having your own full-time individual, or as close to full-time as you can get.
Because I think we're going to be a bit into this year before this pandemic is, well, I don't know when it'll ever be over, but at least when they're going to lift the majority of the restrictions. So I think that we're going to be doing Zoom meetings for the next few months anyways. And I really don't want to be hiring someone and wasting any money at all if that can be avoided. So yeah.
So as far as that topic goes, what would be the best way to move forward then?
I think identifying that it is a priority for this year and that you're open to kind of how the conversation went this evening. And then I think that's a great start. And then we can start to be able to formulate what we're doing on the town side to be able to help support that.
Okay. Do we require a motion?
I don't think so. I think just in the minutes is probably sufficient enough.
Okay. We can kind of work on, I think, what we need over the next few meetings, maybe. Well, I probably shouldn't take that long, maybe, but. Do you, Dana, do you still have the job postings and whatnot?
Unmute. Yes, I can send you all that to, just kind of help you formulate some ideas. I'll also send you the digital version of maybe just an excerpt from, the big binder that we prepared
Yep.
way back at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's instead of going through the whole thing, maybe what I'll do is just kind of send you some specific chapters that highlight what some of those traditional functions are. And then maybe you can also use that as well as the job description to help formulate a plan. Because the job description was pretty generic. It didn't really identify anything specific, but again, it covers those key areas, right?
Well, is that we can tweak it to what we want to do and then go from there.
I'll send that out to you this week.
Yay. Okay. So there you go. So we know we have that and we want to do that. What else do we have? Any other suggestions from people? Come on, Pearl. I know you want to spend money.
You know what I want to spend money on?
What do you want to spend money on?
Beautification.
Yeah, I think that's a good topic. I mean, last year we put a nice dent, I think, with the, those things. Benches, yes.
Yes, yes.
And-
Benches, the receptacles, yeah.
Yeah, but we still have a long way to go.
Oh yeah, for sure. What do you got on your mind?
Are there any talks in the town of what's going on for flowers this year?
Certainly, we would continue what we've been doing previously, but if there's a wanting to, I think maybe last year we started broaching the concept of doing urns at certain stores and storefronts. Certainly, we'll also be doing the old benches that will be done in flower boxes. And so, yeah, I think if you want to talk about beautification, I think that's a great kind of header. And then there's a couple things that I have, or at least one thing. One that we've talked about previously is advocating for the town to undertake a town downtown study of beautification. There's one that we found from a number of years ago that I think we can actually take and build on. Really talked about some of the trees that you would plant in the downtown, how you'd be able to do that, and as you update it and bring it forward for today. But then if you also include flowers and then if we wanted to do something for Canada Day, things like that. So I think under the heading beautification, perfect. There's that advocate for the town doing let's create a plan of where we want to get to over the next several years. And then more specifically, kind of a flowers project that gets store owners and whatnot involved and kind of creates a bit of a cohesive look and feel for it.
Did has the town taken any of the benches yet to start having a look at that, Matthew?
Yeah, well, I believe we've taken one so far, and we were just going to use that as the kind of the workhorse to be able to come up with a number of different options for that.
Do you have a timeline on that one?
Yeah, we should have kind of our options developed by the end of February. And then we'll kind of come back, see what people think, and then kind of go from there.
All right. I think Pearl probably would agree, and I have a sneaky feeling I know what she's thinking. But I think everyone's kind of critical of the baskets, the hanging baskets. Because I know I know town took back covering the costs and whatnot, but it seems like when the cost got covered, so did the quality of the flowers.
Just
an
to
observation.
just to give you an indication, still the same business that's putting them together. Still, it's costing the same amount, if not a little bit more. And so that could have just been a bad year, but certainly we can take that feedback and see if we can improve it.
It's been the last couple of years. I just find that they're just really plain and they're not really they're not full and beautiful like they should be. Does anyone else notice that, or is that?
Oh
just
yeah,
Kevin and I?
yeah.
Yeah, you do too, Tracy? Oh, you're muted.
Oh,
But like I know I was in Smith Falls over the summer, and everybody's probably aware that Smith Falls is spending more money than anyone can imagine on redoing their downtown, and it actually looks amazing. But I mean, the baskets they had, and I thought I took a picture, but I didn't. And I know where they're getting their flowers from, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think our opinion in general is that ours are just not very impressive. And I don't know what options we could look at to try and improve that.
Can reach out to Smith Falls and have that conversation and see what other options are out there as well.
I also wonder about, could you maybe bump up the ones that are just in the downtown core? Maybe you want to elevate those ones. Maybe that's something the BIA would want to contribute to. Maybe, kind of bump up the budget for the flowers in that 4-block radius. And we could really, double the investment, spend twice the amount on those baskets and maybe achieve what you're envisioning there.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting all of them, the entire towns. I'm just, though it'd be nice, but that's kind of out there. But
Kevin,
yes.
Kevin, Tracy wants to say something.
Oh, hi, Tracy. Sorry.
Bye.
I'm
One thing
looking at the screen. I
can you hear
apologize.
me? One thing that I noticed in Merrickville with their flowers is that the actual baskets were at a lower level, and it seemed like you could enjoy them more as a pedestrian. Do you know what I mean? They actually had like a bar that was down lower on the post, and it was really nice. And then they also have those ones that are like in the windows, the ones that are attached to the storefronts.
Mhm.
Those
Oh
are,
yeah, like window boxes, yeah.
yeah, those are really nice too.
Okay, I've made those notes.
Yeah,
Is there
we just
anything-
need full, beautiful baskets. And the last couple of years, we haven't had that. They've been just not eye-catching. And I'm not saying that that's the, that it's the person, I'm not even sure where you're getting the flowers from, but I'm not saying that it's their fault. It could be the type of flower. I think that they've switched as well, because they're not the same basket that when BIA was paying, they're not the same flowers. So maybe that's it as well. Maybe this brand of flower just doesn't grow as as well. I'm not sure, but I would just like to see a full, beautiful basket.
Very good.
With bright colors.
Was there other things? I can't remember.
We talked about a streetscaping plan. Maybe that goes back to Matthew's point earlier about advocating for the town to do that, like doing like a full streetscaping town or plan.
Well, that's in our previous, because I think we made a motion on that previously.
Yeah.
How, or any idea, Matthew, about if that's something town is going to consider or do?
So currently it's on the project list to be vetted and prioritized by council. And so certainly we'll make the point that the BIA endorses this particular project, and that might lend some weight to it as well.
Okay.
Right. Question, Matthew, is removing the trees on King Street an actual reality? Is that something that's quite possibly going to happen?
No, I think what we are looking at is making sure that we have the right trees down there.
Mhm.
And then in areas where we would like to infill for trees, then looking at alternatives to planting. So large, using large urns, large planters, that sort of thing. And then actually you would create a bit of a reforestry program where we could be able to keep them a few years in that large urn and a pot, and then eventually move them to a park, that sort of thing. So certainly there's quite a few options that we have. Some of the trees that we have down there aren't of the right type and that sort of thing. In other spots, they're very difficult to put the trees simply because all the infrastructure in downtown is underneath the street. So there's a lot running on around down there. But certainly other communities have looked at doing these large urns and pots and being able to grow the trees for a few years and then starting that process over again. And so a bit of a constant changing of where you can put them and locate them, things like that. And so certainly it provides some options where we've had difficulty placing them before. So that's currently what we're thinking of. And that previous plan did have some of that considered in it. And so certainly something that we would like to dive into more readily and be able to provide a little bit more of a seasons to the tree. So things that bloom and flower at different times of the year. So you have something that maybe is blooming earlier in the year, then kind of that through that midsummer, and then finally towards the end of the year. So there's always something a little bit different to look at as opposed to kind of green for the vast majority of the year and then no leaves. So just being able to have that mixture there is important as well.
Mm-hmm. But are all the trees that are downtown now going to be staying there? Like I know there's some that are pretty rough looking.
Yeah, so I think the intention is that we would, there's a tree there and there's nothing close to it. Probably if it's towards its end of life, then being able to replace that tree with something that's a little bit more appropriate and hardy for that area. And then for those areas that we can't put a tree, then doing the urn option is definitely there as well.
All right. That answers that question. I know it was talked about one time about these new planters. Well, whatever we come up with the benches, about what was it? An adoption kind of thing. So like a business can adopt a planter. I don't know. I heard it's been thrown around a few times. I don't know if anybody likes that idea or not, or just a thought.
I like it.
I can make flowers live outside. In my house, no.
So maybe an action coming out of that is review options to get businesses involved in flowering, flowers, as well as beautification.
Mm-hmm. We can probably review that once we know if we actually have planters or not, but. All right.
I know someone else had also mentioned the option or that they really like the look of the window boxes. So you could maybe explore that option or the urns to really get more floral happening at the businesses themselves versus having them sponsor flowers that are already going to be planted.
True.
Yeah.
It gets more flowers in the downtown, right? Versus just kind of spreading the wealth.
We also at one time talked about having a something that's related to the town, such as like maybe a lighthouse or something like that. Remember we were talking about that and having those outside the businesses? We might want to take a look at that again.
Oh, is this for the poles?
No. This is something like almost statue form, sort of, that, you know, the businesses could purchase if they so wish, and then they would be at each different business throughout the town. Do you know what I mean?
I get you. So just kind of a decoration per se.
Yeah, but like maybe have 4 variations of a lighthouse, or something that's goes within the theme of the town. I don't know if cannons are really that great to have outside each business, but
Only if they work.
yeah. But something along those lines, like a theme, and then these are the 4 options of the lighthouses or whatever the theme may be. And then store operators can purchase those, or if BIA could purchase on the behalf of the stores, then we could put them out front of stores that want them there, or randomly put them through the downtown. I've seen that in other small towns and it looks really, really good. As long as it's done right.
Yeah, that's true.
Something else, it's really kitschy. I've seen it. I want to say, is it Sterling, possibly, or Tweed, where they've painted all their fire hydrants. I think in there they look like people. But we could do even something like that and kind of a lighthouse theme. I still love Pearl's idea. Like, I really love Pearl's idea. But even, as kind of building on that, something maybe with our fire hydrants. I don't even know from an emergency if you can even do that now. I think it was 20 years ago communities were doing that, and they may need to be a certain color in this day and age. So just a thought.
No, I think there's towns that still. Where was I just recently? And they had them done. They look like minions.
Yeah, and I've seen them look like policemen or firemen. Like I've seen different variations of it.
Soldiers.
Yeah, soldiers.
Yeah, no, that's not a bad idea, actually. Yeah, let's jot that on the list. Are we allowed to paint fire hydrants, Matthew?
I'm going to have to research that one.
Good question.
Might as well ask. All right. Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, that just actually reminds me. Town. I don't know who came up with the blue and white lights around the poles, but they look great. Whoever came up with that one.
Thank you very much.
Kevin?
Yeah.
Yes.
They look really.
Can you quickly send the meeting request over to Brett? He didn't receive it.
Yeah. So I sent it to him. Actually, I'm positive I sent it to him. Yeah. Yeah, I just sent it to him.
Thank you.
You're muted, Tracy.
I was just thinking more too about Pearl's suggestion about the lighthouses, because we were interested in more lighting downtown, that's something, a lighthouse could be lit up at night kind of thing. So that may even lend itself to that idea as well.
Yeah, that would look really sharp.
Yeah, I can already picture them like little beacons going down the street. They'd be so cute.
So we get cannons and soldiers and we have battles.
Have a whole reenactment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned the Christmas lights. They look good.
Yeah, they do.
They do look really nice.
Any thoughts of possibly extending them into the whole BIA area, or will it look weird if it was out of those 2 blocks?
No, we focused this year on the 2 blocks, and think going forward we could certainly expand that a little bit more. It certainly we enjoy or appreciate the feedback, and anything we can do to help, and we'd want to take a look at that.
It's amazing how dark the corner of Center Street is with the tower lights shut off and just the blue lights. It's amazing how dark that is. Would never thought it was that bright.
I'd like to see the clock tower dressed up a bit too. All
Yeah,
year.
well, I think this was a good start with the blue lights. Like definitely. I don't know, how much were the lighting on that, Matthew?
For the lighting for the clock tower was only a few $100s, and so something we just tried. We're testing, but certainly now that we understand what the possibility is, now we need to kind of amplify that considerably. So
Yeah, we should definitely discuss that when the time comes, because that's I thought it looked neat.
We were even talking about whether you could change the lighting inside the clock tower. I think they're investigating that option as well, so that we could really, have some neat downcast light coming down as well as the spotlights.
Can you change the light at the clock face?
Not the clock face itself, but I think the upper, there's a lot of lighting at the
Yeah.
very top there that we could potentially switch out.
But I thought it looked good. Just my opinion. So
It does look good, but it doesn't stay year round. So I'd like something, at least if it's not going to stay all year round, then perhaps, different themes for different things throughout the seasons.
Well, I think those lights change color, do they not?
the ones that are on the tower, yes, they do. So we're not adverse to leaving them there for a while. I don't think they scream Christmas. They do kind of just provide a little ambiance. So so certainly more than happy to leave them there.
Yeah, that would be good.
I like how you had the little accent with ambiance there. That was good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's great. Anything else under the beautification category, Tracy?
I know we had mentioned earlier too to look into investigating some kind of music downtown as well.
Yeah, that got talked about before, and then our radio station disappeared. So I'm not quite sure.
Matthew, was operations going to be looking at the music aspect along with the lighting? Did we, I know we talked about that, but I don't know if they were actually going to explore it any further.
I think we're still trying to figure out exactly the capabilities of it. I think the radio can be a double-edged sword. So I think many municipalities and towns and whatnot did do that several years ago, and then they got quite a few complaints. Also, we have to be cognizant of the licensing rules, because you can't just kind of put it out there in the public without them being fully licensed. So just a couple of things that we might want to consider from that perspective. But we'll do some more investigating and see exactly what the options are. We're pretty sure that the clock can actually change its chime and has a few different themes. So that might be a place we can start, and then we can kind of go from there as to the other things that we can do with sound and radio.
That would be nice. Different chimes. That would be great. Kind of tired of listening to the one that they have now.
Yeah, even something like that, just more of the like chimes versus like the radio, because as Matthew mentioned, the licensing through SOCAN can be astronomical sometimes. Like we have to pay just to broadcast music at our arena on an annual basis.
They've gotten so carried away with that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
There's nothing to say that you couldn't, hire some artists once in a while to be able to provide an afternoon of sound, and whether that's on Friday afternoons or Saturday afternoon, something like that, to just be able to do that. And that actually is low cost as well as highly beneficial for our artistic community. So something that you might want to consider as a slight alternative.
Kind of similar to what O'Haffey's does. I know they have live music every Sunday from, I think, 12 to 2 or 12 to 4. Yeah. And where I live, I thoroughly enjoy it. I get to sit out on my balcony and hear some live music. But you could look at doing something like that, maybe, on a Saturday or Friday evening during the summers.
Well, I know I think we've actually talked about that before. And for some strange reason, I think it was something we thought we're looking at for last year already, but obviously last year it couldn't be done. So, and is the market going to be good for this year as far as we know?
It's really up in the air at this point. We know what was allowed to be done last year, and certainly we want to encourage vendors to be able to take advantage of that. But in terms of timing, we just don't know at this point.
Mm-hmm. So I know the two days they did late, actually, they seemed like they had a pretty good turnout. So, all right, let's jot that one down. Anything else in the beautification category? Did we spend it all, Pearl?
Not sure yet. I'd have to ask Tracy.
Is there any thoughts of painting the light posts, the traffic light posts that are silver versus the black street lights?
Yeah, anything's on the table. So by all means, if you want to make that suggestion, then we can certainly explore it.
We make that suggestion.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think.
Yeah.
I think it's something, if that's what you'd like to see, take a look at painting them black. That might be hopefully a fairly simple job. There is a fair amount of rust on them, so we need to address that. But but I never really thought about painting them black. I'd always kind of put them back to silver. But if black is something that you're interested in, then by all means, we can look at that.
Well, black would also cut down on the rust, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because with
I
silver,
think they look, what's the word I want to use?
Tired.
Not pleasant compared to the traffic, compared to the streetlights.
They look tired.
There could be a municipal standard for that, or not municipal, but a standard. I'm sure operations knows we'll look into it, but you may not be able to paint them anything but silver, right?
if we could, black would be nice. It would be uniform as well, right? So I think that would be good. It would also, as I said, cut down on the rust. At least it's not going to stop the rusting, but you wouldn't notice it, you know, and it doesn't really, it's not very eye pleasing.
Yeah. Did Brett get my email? Anybody know?
Not sure. I'll text him and see.
Just checking.
Oh, he must have. He's on.
Oh, there he is. All right. So we got all of that beautification stuff. Is there anything else under the topic? I got
Matt,
nothing.
do we need to do anything formal to ask that they that the town take a look at painting those black?
No, I've made the note here, and certainly council as well as our departments get a copy of the minutes. So things like that, we absolutely will take a look at.
Oh, fantastic. Do you think maybe Brett would know the answer to that, if they're able to be painted?
I'm really not sure.
Brett, can you hear me?
What's the question? Sorry.
The silver lampposts that are down town, are they, you know, the ones that are they're painted a silver color, but they're kind of like rusty?
Traffic light ones.
Pardon me?
Oh, the traffic lights.
Yeah. Can they be painted black, or is there something where they have to be silver?
I don't know if there's a requirement for the color. I know they do need to be touched up. We haven't done them all in a while, so I don't know if there's a Highway Traffic Act thing where they need to be silver or not. I'm assuming, Matt, you don't know that, don't have that at the tip of your tongue.
No, unfortunately, I'm going to have to research that one.
Yeah, I never thought of that. It's not a reflective paint that's on there, is it? Because if it's a reflective silver, then that's probably there for a reason. But I don't think it is it?
People
No.
hit them anyway, so it probably doesn't matter much. That just seems to be par for the course. Every few weeks, someone takes a pole out downtown.
Usually, is it the one beside Bobby's?
Yeah, that one gets hit all the time, but then there's across the street there, and then trucks were clipping them when we had the full-size poles that were sticking out just an inch or two into the roadway as well. They were hitting them all the time till we went to the shorter ones for those flag style banners.
Yeah. All right. All right. Anything else under that one then? No? All right. So as far as things we still want to do, obviously the events topic should probably be under here as well, but it's a little hard to figure that one out right now.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Has town come up with any plans tentatively yet for the year based on the COVID pandemic, or?
No, at this point, because we simply don't know what restrictions are going to be, then we're doing the best we can in terms of developing a budget. But in terms of actual items, we're still in a holding pattern until we understand when things are going to happen and at what point we're going to be able to see reduced restrictions.
I think that's going to be a little ways down the road if today is any indication.
Yeah. Well, but as Dana said, we could probably in the near future maybe have some sort of kind of like backup plans as far as, like as you said, promos and stuff go. But it'll kind of depend on if shops are open or not, obviously. But I'm keeping my fingers crossed they'll be open in the summer, I hope. Yeah. It's about the best I can think of for the time being. It's really hard to, you don't want to plan anything, right? That's group related.
It's difficult though, isn't it? Because if you're going to plan something, then you need time. You have to plan it in advance. But it's pretty hard to plan something when you don't know what restrictions are going to be in place.
Well, maybe next meeting or two we can discuss at least some sort of promos for the year and go with that. See, at least we can have something somewhat planned. We don't have to organize any group related things, but But like when you get to Canada Day and stuff like that, like there's options. I know Brett mentioned it before, and I was there last year. Where was I? Front of Young. Oh, apparently I'm not on the internet. Can you hear me?
You're good.
Yeah.
Oh, my computer said I wasn't on the internet, but yet I was still on the internet. That was weird. Anyways, yeah, Front of Young had their fireworks, but how they had it organized was really good. Like you sat in your car, they kept the cars apart from each other. You know, things like that. And there is obviously space out that way, things like that. But that's future, something down the road. But
And
yeah,
I'd also encourage you not to necessarily be thinking about those big seasonal events. Think about your weekends, your shopping events that you can coordinate, and maybe planning some of those things so that when, you know, the veil is lifted, so to speak, you're ready to go with a few ideas in the tank that can easily kind of be coordinated for, you know, a Friday night event, a
Yeah,
Saturday
yeah,
night,
yeah.
2 to 4 hours. It doesn't need to be this big 2 to 3 day event that requires 6 months of planning and lead up.
No, yeah, I agree. Yeah, perhaps we can put like a little group together in the future and jot some ideas down.
I would say this is a little group, wouldn't you?
Same thing, Pearl. This is it.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. No, if you got some thoughts, by all means, throw them out. And
One thing I think we really should work on is recruitment. We really do need some more bodies.
Yeah.
we're getting there. I don't know. Anything else for the year, folks? Anybody from town have a suggestion? Something we missed? It's probably something we missed.
No, from my perspective, I think you have 3 or 4 really solid ideas, and then being able to just tackle those would be key.
I like it. Anybody else have any thoughts? No? Wow. Yeah. Sorry, don't mind me thinking. Yeah, probably next meeting, we could start discussing the coordinator thing, and we can probably start throwing some budget together too, based on some of this stuff. Does that work for everybody?
Yes.
Yes. All righty. So I lost stuff on my phone. There it is. So we can move along to 6.3. We're going to have a little in-camera session. If we could have a motion to go in camera.
I'll motion that we move to an in-camera session.
And someone to second. Thank you, Tracy.
Tracy?
Second by Tracy. All in favor?